Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ontario Cryptids. This weekend in Canada marks our Thanksgiving holiday. If you are unaware, Canadians are 1 month ahead of our American neighbors as far as celebrating Thanksgiving. I'm going to be feasting on multiple turkey meals this weekend with my family members. Just thinking about eating turkey is making me hungry. So, happy Thanksgiving to all my Canadian viewers and subscribers. Today, I have 4 encounter stories to share. The last one is in keeping with Halloween. I said last week that I would throw in a spooky encounter for this entire month of October. Hope you all enjoy. Okay, if you have an encounter story that you would like to share, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. I would be honored to share your story with like-minded people. Go grab yourself a beverage and get cozy in your favorite spot and sit back and relax. All right, this first one takes place on July 16th, 2022, and we're going to McCurtain County, Oklahoma, and the nearest town is Hochatown. My husband and I rented a yurt in Beavers Bend State Park on July 15th, 2022. Our yurt is directly south of a bridge. The yurt sits directly on a mountain fork river opposite a tall bluff. We stayed up until midnight and headed to bed. Around 2 a.m., we woke to the sound of 6 or 7 consecutive howls over a 3-minute time span. It was very loud and east of our yurt. It was then silent. 30 minutes later, we heard 3 loud, hollering vocalizations, much closer in the other direction, to the west of us. We have spent a lot of time in the woods. This is a sound we've never heard before. It was not a bear growl, and it was not a coyote or a bobcat. This was loud. Okay, for this one, we're going to be going to Sevier County, Utah. This one occurs in the fall of 2018, and the nearest town is Monroe. For this one here, we have multiple sightings, but I'm only going to show the Monroe Mountain summit itself. I have had a non-visual encounter and 1 visual encounter all within a couple of miles of each other. The non-visual encounter involved being followed by a prominent knocking sound through a heavily wooded area. The knocks came from ground level and followed me and another man for some time. The other individual is a hunting guide and spends extended periods in the mountains. He had never experienced or heard anything like that before. The visual encounter occurred at the summit of a nearby mountain, Monroe Mountain. Me and my father-in-law were scouting elk when we came across a big mountain goat that we followed out of curiosity. When we lost him, we turned around and saw 2 figures maybe 300 yards away, a taller one and a shorter one walking in the opposite direction of us. They looked very dark brown or even black, and my impression was they were not human. My father-in-law did not see them, but insisted we drive over to where I saw them. It was a rocky ledge that ended in maybe a 20-foot drop. Whatever I saw was completely gone from sight in the maybe 60 seconds it took for us to get there. The snow was old and hard this time of the year, but there was a pair of tracks leading to the cliff's edge. This one takes place on July 1st of 2022. We're going to be heading to Orange County in North Carolina. And the nearest town is Hillsborough. Now, looking at the coordinates that were given, it actually leads right to their home. So I actually took the nearest community, which is Cedar Grove. We have 26 acres on Eno River. My 17-year-old daughter was home alone with our 5 dogs on June 24th, 2022. At dusk, she saw something very large on 2 feet standing at the edge of our woods. Dogs never barked. When she looked at it, it spun around and walked off fast. I thought she was seeing things until today, July 1st, 2022. I began to walk up our driveway and heard a stick snap in the woods and looked to my right, and about 30 feet I saw a very large being walking away from me down a path in our woods. I stepped back and got one more glance of it. I immediately texted my 17-year-old and said, "I need to know where you saw what you saw and what it was." She came home and showed me. She said it was behind the basketball net and almost as tall as the bottom of the net. She saw it for a few seconds from behind as it walked back quickly into the woods and out of her view. Right after that, she heard what she thinks was the sound of it running away deeper into the woods. She described it as dark in color and on 2 legs. I drew what I saw, and she said, "Yes, that is what I saw too." I'm going to be honest, I did not believe they existed until today. I archery hunt our woods all the time, and I've never seen anything like this. Our family is very intrigued by the odd behavior of our dogs. Only one of our dogs is allowed to roam freely around the property. That dog does not leave the property, as the other dog will do if allowed to roam freely. It typically chases any small animal it sees or hears near the home, or at least barks at deers. For some reason, that dog, like the others, is very reserved when the creature is around. It does not bark at it nor chase it. My wife surmises that the Bigfoot has made friends with that dog because the dog is free to wander the property all the way to the river, so it has likely encountered the creature before. The only time it doesn't bark and chase things approaching the house is when there are people approaching with whom the dog has already made friends. So that must have happened with this creature already, by her reckoning. All right, this one is the last story of the day. The date is unknown. This comes from Reddit by a user named RCBRXWN. I will leave a link below to this story. We are going to be heading to Lafayette County, Missouri, and we're going to the city of Lexington. When I was around 13, I went to a military school in Missouri. It was built in 1980s and apparently sat on top of a former battlefield during the Civil War. The school had several barracks that different grade levels would live in, but there was one particular barracks that was completely abandoned at the end of the school. When I first got there, the older kids would try to scare us about all the haunted stories that would happen there. People seeing Civil War soldiers with half their face missing, former cadets walking around, lights flickering and shadows standing over them while they slept. The craziest story was of a kid that was taking a shower and a heat lamp was knocked into the shower, electrocuting him to death, but there was no one else in the shower with him. I didn't believe in any of it. Ghosts seemed like believing in Santa Claus to me at that time. That all changed in one night. It was late at night and several other kids and I were marching what they called tours. When you get into trouble, you would have to march in a line up and down for hours. One kid yelled out, "Hey, did you all see that?" I looked over and the light was flickering off and on at that old barracks. It flickered off and on for about 5 minutes, then turned off. Then every light at the top floor turned on and started blinking. Everybody was starting to freak out and wanted to go back inside. Some of us wanted to get a closer look, so we walked towards the building. As we got closer, every light started to turn on one by one, all the way down the floors to the bottom, followed by every light flashing on and off at once. As the lights went out, I distinctly remember seeing a man standing in the window dressed in an old Confederate uniform. What the F? Did you all see the man standing in the window? No one else saw him. I asked one of the commanders about what I saw. He told me that that was one of the ghosts people claimed to see while living there, the Confederate general that would walk the halls from time to time. Sorry, what? That was real? I went down to that barracks every now and then to see if anything else would appear, but that was it. My one and only time ever seeing a ghost. It still gives me creeps thinking about it. I looked up that place when I was older, and apparently they've had several paranormal investigators visit there to find ghosts. It was labeled one of the most haunted places in the country. Hickman Hall, Wentworth Military Academy. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed these 4 encounter stories. Intriguing. I really enjoyed all of them, obviously, but the ones that stood out was this one, as well as the last Sasquatch encounter, where the dogs sort of, well, at least the owners believe one of their dogs had made friends with the Sasquatch, hence the reason why it never barks at it. I found that very interesting because more often than none, you hear that the Sasquatch and dogs just don't get along. So I found that very intriguing. But in any case, I hope you guys enjoyed. I do want to also update you guys. Last Sunday, my son and I walked the CIBC 5K Cure for Cancer. It was such a great time. I got to meet 2 YouTubers that I follow. One of them I think I've already mentioned, Eamon and Beck. We were actually on Team Beck, which was awesome. Got to meet a lot of other people from the city, and it was just a great time. I have to say though, at the end I was wrecked because we did run. We did a lot of walking, but we ran as well, and it was an exhausting day. But it was such a blast meeting everybody, especially meeting Eamon and Beck and the other YouTubers called Kinging It. So yeah, that was awesome. I hope all our fellow Canadians enjoy their long weekend and also enjoy their turkey fest for their Thanksgiving weekend. I hope you guys get to enjoy that with family or friends. I haven't decided as yet when I'm going to be doing the live stream, but I need to do a little bit of setup to maybe make it a little bit more interactive for everyone, and I just hope it works. But I'll keep you guys posted when that date is going to happen. It's probably going to be around 7 p.m.-ish. I think the last time we streamed, it was a Friday night, so I might do a Friday night. I just don't know which Friday night is yet, but again, I'll make sure I keep you all posted. If these encounters reminded you of an encounter you may have had and would like to share, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptid@gmail.com. I would be honored to share your story on this channel. Thank you guys for listening until the end. I truly appreciate it. Please hit the like button on your way out and smash the subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Have yourselves a great long weekend, and I hope to see you all next week right here on Ontario Cryptids.